Great. It is 7:07, and I'll call to order the September 11th, 2024 meeting of the Ware Conservation Commission. I'm Andy Fulton, the chair of the commission. We have with us tonight, to my left, Mike Camacho and Ray LeMay. To my right, Zuzu Tateslin, Mark Phillips, and our liaison, Dave Pratt. So glad you're all here tonight. That gives us a quorum. At the start here, recognizing that it is 23 years since the country was attacked in 3 places, and many lost their lives and many more were inexorably impacted by those attacks. I'd just like to observe a moment of silence and remembrance of those who didn't survive and those who survived with the scars. Thank you, and may the nation strive for unity. We could use some. All right, we've got a less fully short agenda for tonight. We have nobody in the audience. We have the town administrator present, as the minutes will note. And we can start unusually just by trying to pick off some more minutes for review and approval. First set is April 10th, 2024. And I have just a couple comments on this one. Naomi, is it helpful to have written notes to pass along on any edits, or just speaking them for the record?
What I do is I do with the board is tell me the line and I'll fix it.
Okay.
And then, transfer it in there.
Sure.
Please.
This one, my first comment is I'd just like to get all the officers noted. So after Mike Camacho, I'd like to see his recognition as secretary at that time, as he is still now. That's the only thing I have on page 1. Down to page 3 on line 108. In the middle of the line, I want to change "for" to "from," so it reads, "remove a load of excavated material from ditching." Then down to line 129, that important negative, towards the end of the line between "was" and "nimble," the word "not" should be in there, because that was somebody who was not going to be able to climb up to the pond. And then, I think down to 136, line 136, a little bit more verbiage should be added for clarity. And this could be a dash after "poor farm," or it could be in parentheses. Adverse property claim by a butter, I think, is what we were talking about there. And I think adding that would be enough specificity so that the record indicates with better clarity what we were talking about. That's all I have on the April 10th, 2024 minutes. Anybody see anything or know of anything else? These ones were pretty well spot on.
2 small ones. Line 36. At the end of that should be "if it is," not "if is it."
See that one more?
Yeah,
It says "is it" rather than "it is." Swap those.
at the end of the line.
And line 61 says, let me try the same year. Instead of after the comma, it says "halfway."
Yeah.
Should be "that way."
There we go, yeah.
That's all I got.
We have a motion on those?
Motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Do we have any opposed or abstain? Okay. Moving on to the May 8th, 2024 minutes. If anybody has some comments, I have not worked my full way through this just yet. I do at the very beginning have the spot where I'd like to have Mike Camacho noted as a secretary. So if anybody has anything ready, go right ahead.
I only got one on line 238. Should be DX officio liaison. Rather than XC.
What line was that?
238.
238. Yeah. All right, if there be no others, I'm good with it. Can we have a motion on that one?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
And a second?
Second.
Any other comments on those? There being none, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any objections or abstaining? All in favor?
Aye.
And then the next and last one, so nice to be able to say that. Thank you guys for moving through a bunch of them last month. There are the minutes from last month.
We saved you the long ones.
Yeah, there you go. Now, this one I was not present at, but I have some general observations. First, line 17, let's change Chair Fulton to Vice Chair Nager. And then I'm gonna need some help on this one. On line 31, the comment after always wrecking is because that is the insurance company, and that does not make sense to me. So how do we fix that? Anybody want to look at a copy of it? I'm glad to share.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the insurance company or if it was the, he carried the asbestos license. The RJ Olslack Construction, he has the asbestos license,
Yes, that is true.
not the insurance company. He has the insurance company, but he has the asbestos license. Because town council couldn't find it under always. So when I wrote to them, they wrote me back, and this whoever RJ, I don't remember his real name is, but it's RJ Construction, he's the guy that has the asbestos abatement license.
It's the same thing with the insurance too. The insurance is under RJ Construction, doing business as.
Yeah. So it's both the asbestos abatement license as well as the insurance. That's why you guys awarded it to Always, but it was RJ.
So does anything need to be done to make that language read better, or is it, for those who were here, is it just fine?
It could be worded better. Because that is who is insured by the insurance company.
You could say who holds the asbestos abatement license and insurance.
That reads better. Works for me. And the other thing I noted was on line 65. I'm assuming that this was mentioned with a location as it reads, it does not indicate what property, and I think we probably,
The location she had, that was, on the Woods Family Forest.
so the log landing, or, I'm trying to think, I know the issue there,
It was a staging area.
staging area or parking area at the gate.
Actually, it's beyond the gate. It's actually the actual log landing.
Really, it's inside?
Yes. It's the actual log landing where they, further up. It's a lot closer to the road's good enough to back up in there.
Sure.
And then from there to transport it to the hill
Yeah.
is way shorter.
Okay, so that stands, that is proper language, but just note that it, at the Wood,
It's on the Woods.
Wood Family Forest
property.
property, yeah. Just some observations, I'll be abstaining on that one. Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, on line 51. I don't think there was a motion made for the July 17, 2024, we just asked. Basically came in, the Board of Selectmen looked at that and wanted to get the, just recognition from the Conservation Commission that you guys were okay with it, so it wasn't, we didn't approve it then, we approved it last week, or last.
So you just change it to the Board of Selectmen will be approving the joint meeting minutes, or,
BOS reviewed and wanted Conservation Commission acknowledgement, I guess would suffice. Which was also given. We got line 71. It's Horse Lake, not Horse Lake.
good catch.
Line 73. I believe I asked if there was a letter sent out for the Haleys. I thought then you said you were gonna take care of it,
Yeah.
yeah. So it wasn't that
It
we
wasn't
sent the letter,
It was
right,
asked, yes.
right. That is all I have.
Anything else? There being none, all in favor say aye. Oh, why don't we go right, yeah, okay.
I
have a
will make a
motion.
motion to approve the August 14, 2024 minutes as amended.
Second?
Now, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstain, I abstain.
There was some discussion last month that you don't, as long as you
Only-
understand the minutes.
Was that a last month discussion?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so
As
I'll
long as
be,
you understand them, you can.
now, if that was in the minutes, I would. All right, so you won't hear me abstain again, but it holds for this one.
Sure.
Where did the good edification come on that one?
Steve, I think?
It was Steve,
Yeah.
Okay, great.
because there was a couple of the months that I wasn't here,
All right, then you,
and he says, you don't have to keep abstaining.
sure. That makes better sense. All right. Moving on to planning board, we have before us a set of plans that we looked at.
Want to give you a little history?
Yes, that'd be great. Looks like back in '23.
22. So the plan that you have in front of you and down in the note section by the engineer or the surveyor, this was a project done over on South Sugar Hill, the old Inison property, and then 2 other lots. There was conditional approval granted by the planning board on December 8th of 2022. And per the subdivision regulations, conditional approval can only stay for 6 months. So when they came back and wanted to get started again, we informed them that their 6 months had expired, and so they resubmitted. So in the notes section, you're gonna see what Jock Belanger did it. He's gonna present it to the board. But there was some notes made, and he set the bounds. I can't remember the rest one. There was the original plan, there was some amendments, and then the boundaries were set. So this is just a resubmission. He's done all the outstanding items that he was asked of 12-8, but it does have to go back through the process per the regulations, subdivision regulations. So if it looks familiar to you, that's all, it's a resubmission, 2 years ago, when you guys saw it.
Thank you. All right, so we got a set of plans. We do have a wetland stamp for certification, Joshua Bream. We have the surveyor stamp. Right off the bat, I wouldn't say anything looks familiar to me. And certainly, some of us didn't have a chance to see it.
Is that a single lot subdivision or multi?
There's a few lots.
Should be 2 plus the home. There's a home, an old home on one, and then there's 2 new lots.
Just observations, we got 25-foot wetland buffer designated.
Where's the wetland? Where-
Wetlands,
but it-
it's this symbol,
Yeah.
that line with the circle.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
I
don't
guess
see
it also
that.
shows, yeah, the 50-foot
Okay.
wetland building setback.
Okay, up there.
So the 4K area is kept out of the setbacks. Great. Not our business, but the wells are kept out of the 4K areas. All right, yeah, so this is a existing, this is a new 2B and a new 2B, so one on either side, carved out on either side of an existing dwelling. The lots sizes are existing 5.63 acres, new lot 177-1, 10.16, and new 177-2, 12.04 acres. That's a good topo. Land slopes down to the east, away from Sugar Hill Road towards Coat Brook, which is the floodway, I believe.
Yes. Is that about the spillway, the
Yeah.
floodplain area? Yeah.
There's one, well, maybe one other lot Gee, I don't know what that refers to. Right, this I suspect would be Army Corps. I'm not sure whether this is another Army Corps or private. This one's someone on Sewell Hoyt Road. It's awfully close if it's not, depending on, actually, plans probably would be on that. Who's the ownership up on this one, Mike? Oh, no, you're looking at, keep those and put one back. Yeah, it abuts to the east, David Murray,
Oh,
lot 406, lot 9. What's that?
Murray's on, the Murray property was on Sewell Hoyt.
Yep, yep.
And then there's, the Sewell Hoyt would back up, I think, to the Army Corps, yeah.
Yeah, so there's one intervening property. Nice stone wall boundary at the back of the subdividing property. Run the topo all the way through to the back. Could be helpful to somebody at some time. This last one, some detail on septic layout, which is something we don't usually see, but it's an advanced drawing with potential house layouts, septic tank location, septic field runs, so it might. Yeah, it certainly offers a good bit of detail. Corresponding rough fashion to the overlook, so, cool. Looks well in order. Does anybody think there should be any comment other than no comment on this one? All right, so we can sign off on this one. Let's say it looks decent with wetlands stamp and good depiction. Of wetlands and buffers. All right, so I offered a comment to the no comment. All right, that's all we need. Would y'all move this back to Naomi so she can keep that to file?
You want the plan?
Do not need the plan, so we can let that be useful. Oh, and by the way, because I never spoke it, that was Thomas Corrado, 111 South Sugar Hill Road, tax map 403-177. We've got 3 mail items from the Wetlands Bureau of the Department of Environmental Services. All right, the first one is going to be of interest. permit 2024-01269, Thomas Birch, Buxton School Road, map 411, lot 338, regarding unnamed wetland. Based upon review of permit application in accordance with the RSA's, DES issues as wetlands and non-site specific permit. Dredge and fill 19,960 square feet of palustrine forested wetlands to construct a new wildlife/fish pond. Work to be done according to plans. Construction notice to be given within 1 week prior to work. Work done at low flow. Limits of fill shall be clearly identified prior to commencement of work. And control to ensure that fill does not spill over a road into, it's not really a fill issue, but heavy equipment shall not operate in the wetlands unless specifically authorized. Everything will be clean materials. Nothing's to be put into the water. All work, including management of soil stockpile, shall be conducted to minimize erosion, sediment transfer to surface waters, and turbidity in surface waters and wetlands. Water control measures shall be installed. Water quality control measures shall be maintained. Temporary water quality control methods shall be removed upon completion. This is a big one. Dredge materials to be stockpiled in uplands shall be dewatered in sedimentation basins that are contained within turbidity controls, such that turbid water does not leave the basins. Dredge materials shall be disposed of out of the jurisdictional areas unless other disposition is specifically permitted. The equipment shall not, paraphrase here, leak oil into the water body or wetlands. And to be kept staged outside of the jurisdictional areas. Dewatering discharge shall be at least 20 feet from any water body. Exposed soils shall be permanently stabilized within 3 days following final grading, in accordance with the rules. Any stabilization seed or soil added will be free of nuisance or invasive species. There will be monitoring 60 days following the completion of the project. There will be reporting with descriptions and photos and all the good stuff. And then the general conditions. All right, well, happy day for Mr. Birch. It does, for me, beg the question, who monitors this project for compliance?
He's supposed to hire an engineering company to do it.
It was Meridian,
And
wasn't it?
report,
Meridian will
and
probably,
report to who?
they report to the DES and to the owner. So they technically work for the owner, but they're under obligation to report any problems to DES directly, so it kind of prompts the owner to do the right things.
And he said that he would be, a gentleman that was here from Meridian said that he would be overseeing.
It'd be the
that was
monitoring
questioned.
company, yeah.
He said he would be in making sure that the plan's being followed.
Yep,
The one question though is they still haven't determined what they're doing with the 600 truckloads of material.
no, they haven't.
It wasn't it just said de-water, it didn't say
Right.
what's happening with it.
So technically, they could leave it in a big pile and seed it and make a miniature mountain out of it. And maybe over the years, just truck a few loads out now and then, or maybe do it all at once, or chances are what's gonna happen is they're gonna look for a contractor that wants to take it
That's
all
some
to
fill,
another
yeah.
job. That's what we always did.
Very good. And then, just for our town, any idea what next, or whether anything's on the agenda for zoning or planning or any of that, or is that all, has that all been accomplished yet? As far as local approvals, anything?
Zoning. He got his approvals at zoning, where, he's at 19,960 square feet, he's over the $5,000, 5,000 square foot threshold, 5,000 cubic yards. What's that? That converts to, is it 1.5? 1.5 square
Yards
feet
to tons?
yard.
27 cubic feet in a yard, cubic yard.
But he's got approval to do 19,960 square feet.
Right.
So whatever that equation comes out to, you can move up to 5,000 if it's incidental for the development of the property. If it's over 5,000, then he has to come see the selectmen for a gravel hearing.
Oh,
Right,
cubic
right. Well,
yards of
this-
removal?
If,
It says square feet.
Yeah, that's confusing.
well, that square feet's only a map area of
Right,
I think he's
disturbance.
going 17 or 18 feet deep.
It
Yeah.
doesn't tell me, but
Right.
Meridian knows the rule with the gravel, and he said he would be coming back for that, so.
So would they need an alteration of terrain permit? With that much
I think
material?
anything over 1,000 cubic yards of material being moved requires an alteration of terrain permit.
So yes, he would be. He's disturbing a lot more than an acre, right?
No,
He's not, okay.
But it's deep, that's where
well,
the-
it's steep. So he won't need a SWEP plan per se, but because he's moving more than 1,000 cubic yards, he'll probably just have to apply for an alteration of terrain permit. That's not a big deal. That's just a formality.
And that's not us, that's,
But, the young boy that was here and I have had a couple conversations about going to the selectmen for a gravel hearing, because we had an abutter expressed concern about the roadway. So
Sure.
if and when he finds a contractor to move that, that's when it's gonna trigger a gravel hearing with the board. Because they're the regulators of the gravel, not the planning board.
He'll probably just have to bond the road
right,
to make
right, the
sure.
Board of
it's not
Selectmen,
damaged.
right.
But I'm sure he's waiting to get his ducks in a row if he's gonna get somebody to move it, so.
Yeah.
And then there's a 2-cent tax on a yard and
So that sounds like it's moved right along.
yeah, Jake, is it Jacob? Jason? Jason.
Jason, I guess.
Jason and I have talked several times.
Challenging project. Certainly a big deal for a while during construction in the neighborhood. But we did our piece. Looks like Wetlands Bureau's done their piece, and a lot of parts to put together on that one for the permittee, for the owner. All right, next one. We've got a wetlands and non-site specific permit for New Boston Aggregate Corporation. Project location Skeeto Road, so that's the Duck Pond subdivision, regarding the unnamed intermittent stream, another significant deal in town.
That the one we went to look at?
Yes.
Approval date, August 16. So that's the permit description. Dredge and fill a total of 2,714 square feet of palustrine wetland, forested and emergent, and 371 square feet of intermittent stream, impacting 184 linear feet to construct a new road for access to the buildable portion of a lot previously approved for residential subdivision. New Permanent impacts include 467 square feet to forested wetlands, 1,598 square feet to emergent wetlands, and 363 square feet, 179 linear feet to the intermittent stream. For the installation of one new 124-foot-long, 5-foot by 5-foot box culvert and associated head walls and side slopes. An additional 53 square feet and 32 linear feet of the stream will be permanently impacted to remove an existing culvert and restore hydrologic connectivity. The project also proposes a total of 200 square feet of temporary impacts to forested wetlands, 8 square feet to emergent wetlands, and 27 square feet, 8 linear feet to the intermittent stream for erosion controls. All right. In my opinion, this is a big loss. One person's opinion. Then there are details and monitoring and general conditions.
So that they got approval to put in the box culvert that you guys thought that possibly it shouldn't be?
Pretty much.
Yes, we recommended against that one.
Yes, 124-foot long, 5x5 box culvert.
No mention of the bottom of the culvert. Is it just a regular one, or does it have a simulated stream bed?
This is
We
in,
don't know.
didn't the plans show?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so, I mean, in accordance with the plans dated December 4, 2023, I don't see. I don't see any. Yeah.
Third one is Ryan Richardson, Colby Road, map 412, lot 155, unnamed wetlands. A wetlands and on-site specific permit for a shared driveway.
Oh, I think that's the one we looked at a few months back, right? We're gonna have 2 lots on a shared driveway. I think so.
24-foot long, 24-inch diameter, open bottom culvert. one spot, and 24-foot long, 15-inch diameter, embedded closed bottom, reinforced concrete culvert. So those are our three correspondences from Wetlands Bureau. Moving on, unless others have comments for the record on either of those three? Okay. Steve not being with us, just ask for general comments, if any, or knowledge, if any, of where we are with the Forester request for proposal.
Yeah, we reviewed that last night, and there were three points that the board wanted me to bring up. One is on, do you have a copy?
Of what?
Do you have a copy of the RFP?
No, not presently. No.
I can make copies.
This would be, probably, this is the one that I brought to the
That's the
last
one you
meeting?
brought.
Okay, so it's changed slightly since.
I think they're
that.
pretty, they're close enough.
Yeah.
So it was on page 2 under additional information. That was the last, basically the last sentence. All subcontractors shall require prior approval of the Ware Conservation Commission. And the question in looking at is, when is that approval required? Is that to approve the subcontractors prior to accepting them or prior to work?
Well, is the question, so the implication with that is prior to individual projects that the forester carries out, should they plan to use subcontractors,
Okay.
we would want to approve them. But for their application to be the town forester, that shouldn't be an issue,
Okay.
because there's no subcontractors yet.
Can we probably just clarify that statement?
Okay.
And then on page 3, section 3, of the submission request, question came up on, only because of current or recent inquiries. A list, actually it was sentence D. A list of in-house resources and abilities such as number of New Hampshire licensed professional foresters on staff, or whether the respondent can provide GIS services, list any pertinent certifications. The question was, do we want to call out somewhere of whether the invasive species control, if they are licensed or if they have a subcontractor that's licensed? Is that something that we want to put on here? Or is there a need to, as far as you're concerned?
I'm not sure, but I think for invasive species, you need a license to handle them only if you're spraying them. I know a lot of the contractors we work for, for the state jobs,
Yep.
the contractors themselves have to handle it under supervision of the engineers, but they just, basically rip it out and bury it if it's the knotweed stuff. But they themselves, the only time anybody needs a license is like a pesticides license to spray. So,
That was recently inquired about,
Right.
so that's why the
I
question.
mean, we
came up.
could say such as for herbicide application.
Yeah, it would not be difficult to add that in. I
Okay.
think that section
As an
is
example.
is just giving them an opportunity to provide us with more information that we can compare them. It's not,
Yep.
you know, but yeah, it would not be hard to, I can throw that in.
Right, thanks. And there's one other,
Just make sure it's clear that not all invasive work is gonna require a license.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in there that, implies that, I mean, that's not even a spot where
Okay.
we're talking about
Well,
invasive
so
control,
the
it's just.
certification is less to
sort of
do with invasives than to do with herbicides, right? So.
Proper
yeah.
handling of potentially damaging materials.
Yeah, so wouldn't even mention. Okay,
respondents shall provide a fee proposal, I'm sorry, that's the last, number 4. Respondents shall provide a fee proposal for, year 1 using page 4, town forester services and cost proposal. So the question came up, or the concern came up, that, there's nothing projecting out for the balance of the contract. And we'd like to see either, something on there presenting that, is there gonna be a schedule of increases or maximum increases or some type of cap or percentage that, will be expected over the time of the contract?
yeah. We had talked about asking for an annual inflation rate.
I don't know if I'd ask for it per se, but I would probably state that you would want a full fee schedule for the duration of the contract, so that if there are price increases after the first year, it's stated, and it's not a surprise to us.
Okay,
Good terminology, the way you put that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Some of the terminology that I have, when we have contracts, it specifically says I have to hold my price for the duration of my contract. There's no coming back to say, hey, this went up and I need more, no.
Yeah, part of that's trying to put all the respondents on a level playing field.
Yeah.
So folks aren't
So say,
short-siding the front and saying, I get the contract, and then they'll like me so much I can ask for whatever I want.
we see a lot with snow plowing contracts, where the first year it's a certain amount, second year it's a little more, third year it's a little more. I don't see it on many other things, but you kinda wanna know,
Okay.
so.
So instead of for year 1, full fee schedule for duration of the contract,
Yeah,
describing, okay, yeah, describing,
The services rendered.
The lawn care did that too. Our lawn care, we did it 3 years, so year 24 was this, 25 was this, 20,
yeah,
it did it.
you see that kinda stuff, yeah. The state won't let us do that, so I've got one contract right now where we're basically doing it for the cost of material. Material went way up in 2021, we got the contract in 2020, and we're not gonna finish it till this year, so what we're paying for material right now is basically covers the cost of what we bid. But nothing we can do about it. You kinda wanna clarify that on this contract, so we don't have to discuss it anymore after the fact.
so do we think having 5 pages of those, of the fee schedule for each year would be,
You could,
Could you split it up into columns?
okay, yeah,
We do the Susanna, we do the CIP in columns,
okay.
so like 25, 26, 27, 28.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
If you get that updated, just get that back to Naomi. I don't know do you guys wanna review that before sending it back?
pretty simple, the changes.
yeah,
Yeah, that sounds like good.
okay, yeah, I'll just,
The board will review it after that.
Okay, all right.
So she'll email it to me and I'll get it to them?
Yep.
Okay, and no
And-
need to come back here?
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
You just send us a copy though.
Then the next step, though, do we conference with you guys again in trying to make sure we're on the same page as far as how we perceive awarding this contract, scaling it, or not scoring it and that sort? Or do you get the sense from your board that,
We have
you
that
know,
discussion.
one more look and you're good to go and we can, you know, get this thing cranking so that,
That's-
we have a
that's
chance
how
by the
I'm
end of the year.
interpreting it. There was no discussion.
yeah, I don't think it has to be held up, but maybe
Right.
once we get this thing out there, before we open bids, we wanna sit down and talk about how we're gonna arrive and, or conversely, the commission can talk about it and put together a suggestion or proposal for you guys on what we're thinking of doing with it. How we're gonna come about a recommendation to you, so that we're not after the fact saying, hey, we should have, or could have, or missed an opportunity or something.
Yeah, because if it gets posted in the
But-
next couple of weeks, and
And then it takes, we usually try to give them 2 weeks or more.
Please.
So then we would have sealed bids due at a certain time, and maybe try to work with you guys and have that joint meeting that night, discuss it before we open them together. We could do that. We could make it, we could try to make it.
I guess it's worth saying what's our goal for having an opening? Are we looking at November? Or is it any chance that, yeah,
To be fair, I mean, I'm gone for a little while, I'm gonna try to do my emails while I'm gone, but,
and for,
to me, I'll get it to them, we'll put it out. You're still looking 2 to 3 weeks to be fair, so that people get a chance to see it. Construction Summary will put it out, anybody will put it out.
or we might,
So you're looking, it's gonna miss your October meeting, I think.
I think, just be aware of this, we might wanna call a special meeting on this. November is usually a bad month,
And it's
meeting-wise for
short because of
attendance.
Because of Thanksgiving, it shortens things up. And
Thanksgiving and something else is always happening in November where we lose key members.
I think we stay in touch with each other, I think that's key.
But at the next meeting, you might want to consider a special meeting to do it if November's looking light for attendance.
We can stay in touch, I'm sure.
yeah.
And I think when Susanna sends it out, she sends it out to conservation and CC's me, you guys will all get it. That's what she did last time.
Just one question. When you say reviewed last night, you mean Monday night?
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
I was wondering.
Okay.
We ended at midnight. and then-
Oh, well, there you go, it might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had a busy spell, for sure. Great. So that'll get you guys what you need on that item.
Yep.
And we'll be back to you for any other things, if you don't mind. We'll-
Steve briefly talked, last time we met, to start thinking about how we're gonna compile the information and grade it.
Great, yeah.
So,
Right.
I'm not sure what that looks like, but one of the points I brought up is the longevity issue that, that Steve and yourself talked about. How do you factor that
Right.
against everything
Yeah.
else, so. So I don't know what that answer is, but.
No, and that's perfectly fine. We're not expecting to go into it knowing the answers, but
Right. How do you
having,
fix that?
I think we'll just want to certainly touch base before any opening, provided it goes and gets us there, and we're in good shape, so. On another one that's further along, anything new, or do we have a schedule for the activity and building demolition on the town forest land purchased from Barden? Where did that,
I can give you an update if you want.
that would be awesome, Naomi, thank you.
I think I shared with you guys the contract after it was signed. So, at the last meeting, Steve.
Did you all see that? Just hold on. Did we see a contract after a sign? I'm not sure that came through.
I can send it to you.
Please.
So, you guys, Steve signed it at the last meeting after we had gotten it back from RJ Oslak. I have not seen him come in for a building permit yet. I was going to drop a reminder, he does need a building permit because all the abatement has to be completed, which we signed together, was by December 12th of '24. So there's some work to be done prior to that. So he hasn't come in for it, to my knowledge, and I was going to just remind them of the time frame that a permit is needed, because he was reminded a permit was needed, because it is indicated in here that he would have to get any local permit to remove it.
Right.
And then there was a fee schedule too. We retain 5%, and then we have to make sure that it got done, complied with, and things like that. So the window's becoming like this. So I was just gonna send out a reminder, because it's now September. It was signed August 14th, it was signed about a month ago. I
Right.
haven't seen any movement yet.
You're gonna have to cut some brush to get in there now too, because when I went by there the other day, it was all grown in the driveway. You can't even hardly drive a pickup.
They
in there.
did ask about that.
They did.
And we said,
Yeah, we said okay.
yeah.
So.
Does anybody on the commission need to do anything at this point, or would that just?
No,
wait?
I don't think so. It's on my radar, but I do want to reach out to them, because time is becoming short.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was based on 120 days after signing. So I anticipated signing on the 14th, and that's why December 12th was calculated the way it was calculated.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Are you gonna be following up with them
I will,
this week?
yeah,
For you.
tomorrow probably.
Thank you. I did, I'm just asking if you let us know.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And I'll send you guys a copy of this.
Thank you. All right. Any other thoughts on that one? Moving on. So under land management, looks like there was some good discussion with Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission regarding trails last month. Anybody aware of a next step or a, work task for anybody? Steve was carrying the ball on this one. I'm just
I think we're
wondering
gonna
if.
try to get them some GIS data. I failed to find any, so
I-
I wasn't able to send them anything.
Yeah, I got in contact with Sinuosity, and they sent me their GIS data, but it seems like it's corrupted. She said
Oh.
her computer had crashed, so I think that might be a bust. But I did try to send that over. It didn't work for them, and then there was one other item.
You did send over a work schedule and possible expenses that we would incur to proceed.
All right. So we'll table that to discuss with Steve.
We'd also asked the two gentlemen that were here if they could get us some references of areas that have gone through this, so we could possibly have some conversations of how they started things up and
Mm-hmm.
what their action plans were, and see if we can kind of work towards some of those.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, everybody, for those updates. Anybody think of anything else under land management?
This, the gentleman that does the haying was notified. He was sent a letter indicating that, next year we'll have to enter in a lease before we start anything over there, so he's aware of it when this crop season's over. I've never heard back from him, it was dated August 26th. And just said that next year before you, use fertilizers, crops, et cetera, as applied to the field, there needs to be a lease for the hay fields. I just didn't want him to get shocked come time to.
Sure.
And I shared with him the town of Hollis, what we looked at.
Would you send a CC or send a copy of that along, please?
Yeah, I'll include both selectmen and board.
Okay, so we'll have a look at that. And
And while we're on that, there was
did,
the,
just hold a second. Was there a request for response on that,
No,
or is it
I
more of an
did not.
FYI?
It was more of an FYI.
Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't want him to be shocked.
Right. I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so we appointed a new park member Monday, last night. And he, Kyle Cleveland was his name. And one of his interest points was trail development, you know, walking, cycling, stuff like that.
Nice.
And I thought maybe it might be, you know, if we start some type of advisory committee or something, then maybe interested in doing that.
We had reached out to them prior,
All right.
so having somebody interested, that's a bonus.
Good. All right, Dave, I see you're sneaking your comments in here piecemeal. Does that cover it all, or is there anything more?
No, there's a couple things. Don't know if you wanna know or don't wanna know. Park's taking some actions to spruce up the Bolton Playground. Put new mulch in, fixing the slide, fixing the sandbox. There's been if you don't know, new council's been selected to represent the town, Drummond Woodsum, out of Manchester.
I'm sorry, what's the name again?
Drummond, D-R-U-M-N-O-N-D, Woodsum, W-O-O-D-S-U-M. And the Board of Selectmen will be having a meet and greet with them next week. We've got the River Road Bridge design contract is being reviewed for finalization. Hopefully that will be finalized in the next few weeks, month or so. And there is some cemetery work to do some headstone repairs that's gonna be taking place. We contracted with Center Square to do that, and that's being done out of some expended funds from Mildred Hall. Just a few tidbits, didn't know if you wanna know that, but
Glad to. If you get wordy on those and lengthy and great tangents, I might rein you in, but no need. That's good to know what's going on. Great.
Sherry's the point on that, so.
Cemetery work, yep.
That's all I got.
Yes. Legacy to maintain, for sure. Okay, anybody else have anything? I don't need to quote anything for record, but y'all had a chance to look at budgets and numbers on that, and man, how quickly we roll up towards end of year stuff and have to
I know.
consider it for next year's, and that's all rolling up on us pretty quick, so. Always, you know, customarily, we move forward without little change, but just bear in mind if there's something that, you know, is just a burr in your saddle and you want to tell us about it and say, can we change this? It's always bothered me. You know, now's the time to start talking about that on budgets, specifically the conservation budget, which usually we don't ding too hard. One thing, actually, I should speak about that I didn't get on here. So for my, one other thing, usually this time of year, we get a mow in on the little field on Concord Stage Road, the Eastman Field, next to the cemetery, to keep the sumac down and things like that. That is something that, yeah, that we usually appropriate a little bit of monies for, and maybe we ought to do that so that we're not pushing the envelope too far for actually trying to get Mr. Wilson to help us on knocking that down.
He's retired now, so it's easier.
Yeah. I think it's been, I hate to quote something for the record, but it's always been very manageable. I think Steve has often in the past said up to 500, and we do it for much less than that. If anybody has questions about what we're talking about, has concerns about why we're doing it, now's the time to air those out. If not, with the wonderful flexibility of the Conservation Fund, we could have that done again this year, so the field is kept a field.
Do we need to make a motion?
Any expenditure, we want a motion, we want a second, we want to call it forward. This is talking about Conservation Fund, so it's entirely within us to propose that.
Okay. I make a motion to expend up to $500 for mowing of the, I forgot the name of the field.
Eastman.
Eastman
Eastman
Field on Concord Stage Road.
Field on Concord Stage Road.
I'll second it.
From,
Conservation Fund?
Conservation.
looking for Ray. Where's the money gonna come from, Ray?
From Conservation Fund.
Thank you.
I was already thinking of all kinds of other things. Completely.
All right, so we got a motion from Ray, a second from Mark, authorizing expenditure of up to $500 for mowing the Eastman Field on Concord Stage Road, to be funded or to be from the Conservation Fund. Let's see. All right, we got a motion, we got a second, we know what we're talking about. Any other thoughts on that? Dave, just to be sure, you are aware of the spot we're talking about on this one?
Not particularly.
All right.
Yeah, no. Generally.
We've got the driveway into the Eastman, to the east of
Yep.
Blackbirds.
Yep.
And then heading off the other way back here towards 114, we've got the small cemetery on the north side of the road.
Yep.
Just before, as you're heading west, just before, on the right side, there's a small field. The abutter to the east mows his property pretty good and pretty tight. But there's that, I don't know, maybe 1 acre size field that is property, Eastman Town Forest property that abuts the road. And that's been a small field for as long as I've been around in town. And we try to beat back the edges and knock down the sumac and give the poison ivy something to think about. And usually it comes up with a fair bit of milkweed, and we like to maintain it as grassland. And it's a little piece of the puzzle, but it's actual town forest, Eastman Conservation Area, town forest land that abuts Concord Stage Road and the cemetery, so it's kind of wedged right in there. And then there's no access through that spot. It's sort of a tangle to walk through. But walking off to the north there, I don't know, probably 300 yards, it comes up to the big field. That's within the Eastman Conservation Area, town forest. And that's one that we had to reclaim because it was very much overgrown about 10 years ago, and we had a big chunk of work done, and then we had a prescribed burn there, and then last year we had a company come in and do some mowing. So it's small field, a little bit of brush, and then the big field. And this is a small one that you see right from Concord Stage Road.
Thank you.
All right, that being what we're talking about, all in favor of the expenditure, please say aye.
Aye.
All in favor, thank you. And,
Reach him, or do you need me to reach him?
if you would take that on, I'll spare Steve a phone call. If you could reach out to him and just,
I just don't want to,
yeah, thank you, that'd be great.
and you don't care when he does it?
Nope, no, but it's, at this point, it's, well, it's doable.
This year, yeah.
Yeah, before December. And just, I don't know that the name's familiar with everyone here, but that's Mr. Wilson, his first name.
Gary?
Right. And if, for some reason, it doesn't work for them, just let us know and we'll see what other alternatives there might be. Thank you, all right. Glad that dropped out of the gray matter to help us do these many things, large and small, that we like to keep on top of. Anything else? There being none, let's get that last motion. Who wants it?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We adjourn at, you want to give us a time, Naomi?
8:17.
8:17.